Hey everybody, happy Halloween and blessed Samhain. I'm Dee, and this is my BFF and feline life mate, Stud. When we think of witch trials, most people think of Salem, Massachusetts, where hysteria gripped a small New England town and sent 20 innocent people to their deaths. But did you know that Connecticut, not Massachusetts, was actually the first colony to execute someone for witchcraft? Decades before the infamous Salem trials even began, Connecticut had already seen its fair share of so-called witches meet their fate at the gallows. One of those accused was Goody Bassett, a woman sentenced to death in 1651 for the crime of witchcraft. Her story, like so many others from that time, is a tragic reminder of how fear, superstition, and rumor could destroy lives. Connecticut in the 1600s was a place where the belief in the supernatural was woven into everyday life. The devil wasn't just some distant symbolic figure. Many colonists genuinely believed he walked among them, influencing their neighbors and perhaps even themselves. This fear gave rise to the witchcraft trials, with the first known execution happening in 1647. Alice Young hanged in Windsor, Connecticut. The Connecticut witch trials occurred from 1647 to 1663, more than 4 decades before the trials in Salem. At least 34 people were accused of being witches in Connecticut, and 11 were ultimately executed. These included women who chose to wear their clothes differently or were more assertive than others whose pious lives were stepped upon by women who were just being themselves, a little different than the norm of the times. The crime was officially recognized in the law in 1642. If any man or woman be a witch, that is, hath or consulteth with a familiar spirit, they shall be put to death. John M. Taylor's book, The Witchcraft Illusion in Colonial, Connecticut, is one of the best sources we have for understanding what happened during the dark chapter of Connecticut's history. In it, Taylor outlines some of the grounds for examination, the guidelines officials used to determine if someone was a witch. These were things like being the subject of widespread rumors, or if someone accused you, especially if another witch testified against you, if a person you cursed suddenly experienced bad luck or injury. But what makes it especially eerie is how officials used physical signs, like the appearance of a devil's mark on someone's body, or if the accused was caught with a familiar, an animal like a cat or a mouse, to further the accusations. In the 1600s, Connecticut, including Fairfield County, was a deeply religious Puritan society. The early settlers believed that the devil was an active presence in the world, and many towns, like Stratford, were small, tight-knit farming communities. This strong belief in the supernatural and fear of the devil made accusations of witchcraft particularly dangerous. Life in Fairfield County was harsh, with frequent conflicts with Native American tribes, disease, and the challenges of establishing new colonies. These conditions likely contributed to a climate of fear and superstition, which helped fuel the satanic panic that led to witch trials. Religious leaders and colonial authorities often saw witchcraft as a direct threat to the social and spiritual fabric of the community, leading to a wave of accusations against those, mostly women, who were seen as outsiders or who didn't conform to societal norms. One such woman was Mary Payne Bassett, born in England in 1620. She and her husband bore at least 3 children, a son, Robert Bassett, and 2 daughters, Sarah Bassett and Mary Bassett. The family originally lived in New Haven, Connecticut, before moving to Stratford, a coastal town located in Fairfield County, along Long Island Sound. In the 1600s, Stratford was a small colonial settlement with only a few hundred people, largely farmers and tradespeople. Founded in 1639, the town holds significant historical importance to the state of Connecticut, especially when discussing the early colonial period. It's believed that the name Goody is short for good wife, a moniker given to married women of lower social standing. There is some lore when it comes to Goody Bassett. Like when Goody moved to Stratford from New Haven, the townspeople around her began to suffer from hallucinations, sickness, and even death. One account has a neighbor accusing her of causing his cow's milk to run dry, when in actuality, she was probably just outspoken. And after making a confession, probably under extreme duress, as was norm at the time, she was found guilty and sentenced to hang. In the record of the New Haven colony, it is recorded that Governor Jim Haynes, Captain John Kulik, and Mr. Henry Clark are desired to go down to Stratford to keep court upon the trial of Goody Bassett for her life. Witchcraft was one of 12 capital crimes decreed by Connecticut colonial government in 1642. The legal precedent cited by the devoutly Puritan colonists was of a divine higher order. Biblical passages such as Exodus 22:18, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," and Leviticus 20:27, "A man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death." During her trial, Bassett had commented that there was another witch in Fairfield that held her head full high. Fairfield is just 2 towns south of Stratford, and from this comment, it was somehow decided that a person named Goodwife Knapp in Fairfield, Connecticut, was the person to whom Bassett had referred. As a result of the kind of hysteria about witches that prevailed at the time, even though Goodwife Knapp was considered a woman of good repute and a just and high-minded old lady, she was found guilty and hanged in 1653. According to legend, on the way to the gallows, Goody Bassett fought her guards and tried to grab onto a large rock to prevent herself from being hauled away. Townspeople report after the hanging that Bassett's handprints were now embedded in the rock. There is dispute about what happened to the witch's rock. Some say it was lost during the construction of the I-95 overpass, while others say that someone stole it and used it to repair their cellar wall. Goody Bassett's hanging tree stood near where the Stratford train station is today. It was struck by lightning sometime in the late 90s and burned. It is no longer there. Goody is supposedly buried at the old Congregational Burying Ground in Stratford, though she has no marker. While the specifics of the accusations against Goody Bassett are lost to history, as mentioned, it's widely believed that many women like her were targeted because they were poor, outspoken, or simply different. Goody Bassett's execution is part of a larger pattern of women who were often healers, midwives, or widows being scapegoated by their communities. Led by groups like the Connecticut Witch Trial Exoneration Project, descendants of those accused, along with historians and advocates, have pushed for formal apologies from the state for the injustices these victims faced. On May 10, 2023, the Connecticut House of Representatives voted 121 in favor and 30 against in order to exonerate 12 people who were convicted of witchcraft in the colonial era. On May 26, the Connecticut State Senate voted 33-1 to pardon the same group on the 376th anniversary of the first witch hanging in New England, that of Alice Young. On Thursday, October 26, 2023, Goody Bassett was officially exonerated on the Stratford Green, where a plaque set in stone and fittingly under a tree was dedicated to her memory. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about Connecticut's witch trials or the ongoing efforts to exonerate the accused, be sure to check out the links in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime stories. TTFN, ta-ta for now.